Alrighty, good Tuesday morning, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron back here once again. I'm going to give you guys a live update on the tornado warning ongoing across southeastern Arkansas at this current time here. You guys have really been under the brunt over the last 12 to 24 hours in terms of the tornado warnings and the severe thunderstorm warnings here. So then we have a new tornado warning I want to talk to you guys about. It's going to go until 7:30 this morning. It's going to go for Ashley County at this current time here. So it's going to go for southeastern Ashley County, southeastern Arkansas until 7:30 this morning. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located near Beekman, or 10 miles southeast of Crossett, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So hazard tornado radar indicated rotation at this current time. This is going to affect areas near Montrose, Portland, and those areas near Maryland at this current time. So to repeat, we do have a tornado warning in place for southeastern Arkansas down here in Ashley County at this current time here. Now this comes after we had sounded the all clear, thinking that the line of storms was going to kind of eliminate the tornado threat down here in southeastern Arkansas, but we had these one little supercell really start to get going in front of the line. And this is where you're getting that tornado threat to kind of materialize down here in southeastern Arkansas. So let's go ahead and kind of take a look at this real quick. This is south and east of Crossett, south of Hamburg, and southwest of Montrose at this point, and west of Wilmot, and it's moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So Montrose, you're once again back in the path. Lake Village, once again back in the path. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls for you and the outside as possible, and get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this current point here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is the storm relative velocity at this point here. Now the rotation itself, given that we're at Little Rock's radar, doesn't look super impressive, so we're going to move over to Jackson's radar for just a little bit. And you're going to see the area of rotation over here in southeastern Arkansas. That's just south of Ashley County, moving into Ashley County at this point. And also to kind of give you guys a little bit of a refresher this morning, we do have a tornado watch that's going to go until 11 o'clock this morning here. It's going to go for Union County, Ashley, Chico, Drew, up towards DeShay County at this point. So just kind of keep that in mind throughout this area. I think your threat will end before 11 o'clock. The majority of this watch will probably be for Mississippi and Louisiana, but we will have to watch it for the first couple of hours this morning here. So this is going to be tornado warning right in here. This is coming from Jackson's radar here, and there's the area of rotation. And even on Jackson's radar, it doesn't look super impressive. However, that doesn't mean anything. If there's a tornado warning in place, you still got to treat it as if it's on the ground. So if you know anyone in Montrose, you know anyone in this particular area here, parked down, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately here. And this is going to go right over Highway 8 at this current time. So there's the area of rotation. Let's go ahead and put this over on our rotation tool at this point. And there it is right here. It's going to be just to the south of Crossett at this time, south of Hamburg, and it's going to move northeast at about 40 miles per hour here. So what we're going to do here, we're going to put a track on this storm. So I'm going to zoom this out. We're going to move our rotation track just right there, and we're going to put a track on this storm real fast here. So Montrose, once again, you're back in the path of the storm. So you guys have seen a lot of activity over the last 12 to 24 hours in terms of tornado warnings. We had that one potential tornado yesterday. We could easily get that repeating as for today. So just kind of keep that in mind here. And there's the tornado warning right here. It's going to move to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So it's going to be right through here. So Portland, Montrose, and also once again Lake Village over here. Portland, we're talking 708. Montrose, 714. And then the Lake Village right around 7:30 this morning. So go ahead and take your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to you on the outside as possible, and get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this current time here. So just kind of taking a look at everything at this point. Montrose, you guys are actually still recovering from the tornado from last night. Significant damage is being reported in Montrose after an apparent tornado that went through last night. So you guys are once again back under the gun for the tornado potential. And one thing I want to stress too at this morning is not only just a tornado threat, but we're getting a significant amount of flash flooding reports this morning. We've gotten several reports of numerous homes flooded, mainly coming out of DeWitt and Arkansas County up here in southeastern Arkansas. So don't ignore the flooding threat. If you got to be out this morning, you're under flash flood warning, remember, turn around, do not drown. Don't go over any roadways that are flooded over. Make sure that you're taking detours and stuff like that, finding alternate routes to your location at this current time. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's going to go for our folks in southern and southeastern Arkansas for this morning. It's not only just a tornado threat, but it's also the flooding threat as well. So there's area of rotation at this point. Montrose, you're back under the gun once again. And what we're going to do, we're going to take this off for just a little bit, and we're going to show you guys the overall track here. So this is going to go from Montrose, Lake Village once again. There's the area of rotation at this time. Let's go back over to our current Doppler radar here, and there it is at this point. So it's going to go right over Highway 82, Highway 165, same areas we've been preaching for the last couple of days here, in terms of those are going to be the areas that see the tornado threat. So Montrose, Lake Village, Highway 82, Highway 165. It should stay to the north of Wilmot. However, I would watch it if you're in the Wilmot area at this point. It should stay north of Eudora as well. It's south of Jerome, and south of Hamburg, and well to the south and east of Crosset, and south of Fountain Hill at this current time here. And their sirens are probably going off like crazy in Ashley County at this time, but this is going to mainly affect southeastern Ashley County versus, the Crosset area or anything like that. You guys are good to go over in those areas here. Kind of give you guys a statewide view of what's going on. We've got multiple warnings this morning as well going into Mississippi. A couple of reports of tornadoes up here in North Mississippi this morning. This line of storms is going to continue to move into Mississippi throughout the day today. It's going to lead to another threat of severe weather for our folks over there in southern Mississippi, southern Alabama this afternoon, this evening, which could produce the tornado threat. Some of those could be strong down there in southern Alabama and southern Mississippi for today. So if you know anyone that down there, anyone that's traveling to that direction, make sure they have a game plan ready to go for today as well. Elsewhere across the state, 7-4. Flash flooding is definitely a problem. It has been a problem for much of the overnight hours into first thing this morning, which we were fearing for much of southeastern Arkansas. Elsewhere across the state, you're relatively good to go. I know a lot of people are probably tuning in from Little Rock to Fayetteville and stuff like that, trying to figure out if there's another threat of severe weather. You guys are good to go. I think the far southeastern corner needs to be watched for the first couple of hours this morning. We're talking the Ashley, Chico, the Drew County area, but us outside of those areas, you should be good to go in terms of the severe weather threat. But watch out for the flooding threat down here in southeastern Arkansas, from Arkansas County all the way down to Union County down here in southeastern Arkansas. So this is the current tornado warning. Tornado warning is going to continue until 7:30 this morning, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So it's going to be moving over to the Portland area, Montrose, and the Lake Village area as well. We do have another severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go until 7:15. This is mainly for 60 mile per hour winds. It's going to continue to move across the Mississippi River and into Mississippi. So Mississippi's threat is now beginning, while ours is coming to an end across Arkansas here. We saw a lull in the activity throughout the overnight hours. Not really much went on during the overnight except for the flooding threat. But the tornado threat, as soon as the sun began to come up, we started to get a little bit of instability, and that's where you got the tornado warning at this point. So let's go back and take a look at our velocity data real fast here. And this is going to be the area of rotation. It's going to be right in here, just to the south and west of Montrose, just to the west of Wilmot at this point here. And just looking at this on radar, and I want to urge caution down here because southeastern Arkansas doesn't have the best radar. Jackson is just barely able to get a read down here in southeastern Arkansas along with Little Rock. They really need some kind of radar down here in northeastern Louisiana to really help out with this, but it gives us an idea on where the rotation is. So it's going to be right in this area where green and red combine, and I wouldn't be shocked just based off of the latest scan that they end up dropping this tornado warning before 7:30, because a couple of things are going on. You've got more storms firing up ahead of it, which is going to cut your inflow off, and you have a line that's rapidly coming in from the west and may try to absorb this storm into the line. So that's going to be the biggest thing. That doesn't mean let your guard down if you're in Montrose or in Lake Village or anything like that. It just means that this tornadic storm by itself doesn't have a lot of time by itself until the line gets through or emerges with another storm off towards east here. So Montrose, Lake Village, and Portland, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. Anyone that's traveling on 82 this morning, and a lot of people are going back to work, a lot of people are going back to school and stuff like that. Make sure that they're in their safe place. I know you may be running a little bit late, but your safety comes first versus any sort of job or anything like that. So keep that in mind. But from Montrose to Lake Village over towards Portland, you need to be seeking shelter immediately here. Now, another thing is power outages. And I know there's a lot of people kind of tuning in across the state with little to no power this morning here. We still got over 9,000 customers without power this morning. We're going to update that map for you guys here. So we're at 9,464 at this current time here. We're going to update that real fast for you guys. And that's going to be the biggest thing this morning. A lot of people are kind of concerned, about when's the power going to come back on and everything like that. I do believe they're going to try to have the power back on by noon today. There's been a lot of estimated time frames saying noon today, unless something has majorly changed with that here. But right now we're sitting at, give me 1 second, I'm updating this real fast. 9,464 power outages this morning. We're going to take a look at energy here in just a second here, but I'm letting this tornado warning kind of expire before I get deeper into those details here. So there's a track at this point. So before, we're still monitoring the situation down here in southeastern Arkansas. It's going to go for Ashley and Chico County down here for Montrose, Portland, and also the Lake Village area. Let's take a look once again at your coalition coefficient. There's no evidence of any tornado on the ground, which is awesome to see, which is pretty good. However, there's still some decent rotation in place. Now, I'd be real curious to see what they're going to do with this, because the rotation is not as pronounced as it was before. That doesn't mean you need to let your guard down here in the Wilmot area and the Montrose area at this time here, which the tornado warning itself, I do believe, has been kind of trimmed in place. It's mainly for southeastern Ashley County now. It's going to go until 7:30 this morning. So just kind of keep that in mind across the area from Portland to Montrose, down towards, give me 1 second here, it's going to be Highway 165, and down towards Parkdale. You need to be seeking shelter immediately. It's also going to cross over Highway 8 as well, but there's the area of rotation. There's the concern right in here, and it's going to stay south of Hamburg. I know sirens probably going off at Hamburg and stuff like that for Ashley County. I'm not sure if they do like a county-wide tornado siren and stuff like that, but I want to kind of urge a little reassurance over here in the Fountain Hill area, the Hamburg area, and across the area. This tornado warning is well off to your east. However, we're going to watch the Montrose area once again. I don't know what it is down here in southeastern Arkansas. You guys being the hot spot down here for the Montrose area, but this is what we're going to be watching very closely, and it's going to be moving towards the Lake Village area as well. So we're going to put a track on this, and it's going to be right in here. So bear with me for just a bit. We're going to put a track on this, and it's going to go moving towards northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So clock at 40. And once again, Portland, Montrose, and the Lake Village area this morning, those are going to be the areas of concern. So what we're going to do for just a little bit is I'm going to take a look at energy, trying to give you guys a little bit of an update on the restoration time in terms of getting your power back on and everything like that. I do believe so before, as I saw the last couple of hours, it was sitting at I think noon today, but we're getting a lot of power outages down here in southeastern Arkansas, so I'd be real curious to see what they do with this. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be at noon today. Thunderstorm moved through the area, causing numerous outages and widespread damage to power systems. Restoration efforts are underway at this point. The time of restoration could be different once the overall surveys come in. Now, elsewhere across the state, central Arkansas and stuff like that, I do believe it will be on before then. It just depends on what type of damage you have and everything like that. Most of them are ranging from 10:30 this morning till noon this afternoon. So just kind of keep that in mind. Southeastern Arkansas, the biggest thing is you guys being under the gun with the tornado warning, it may be a little bit later than the noon time frame for those folks down there in southeast Arkansas. So this is the current tornado warning at this point. Mentioned before, it's going to go until 7:30 this morning. I'm not seeing any sort of reports or anything like that in terms of it being on the ground or anything like that. We're going to be keeping an eye on the situation at this point. Let me see here. I think that's really it in terms of that. I'm not seeing any sort of damage or anything like that. And I want to kind of reassure you guys, the biggest thing is we sounded the all clear because there's a lot of storms coming through. We were still monitoring the situation. The tornado watch got issued until 11 o'clock. We were still watching southeastern Arkansas at this point. So it doesn't mean that we let our guard down or anything like that. We've been watching southeastern Arkansas throughout the entire night. So just kind of keep that in mind across the board. So watch the situation closely. Like I said before, we've got also multiple warnings over here. But the biggest thing I want to stress is the flooding threat, and we've gotten a lot of flooding reports across southeastern Arkansas here. So the tornado threat is still there, don't get me wrong, but make sure that you're turning around and do not drown in these areas here. We got multiple flash flood warnings across the area here. So this is what we got at this point, the tornado warning across Ashley County at this time here. It's going to go until 7:30 this evening, this morning, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour here. So it's going to be going right over the same areas we were talking about last night, Highway 65, Highway 165 as well. So this is going to continue to move out towards the north and east here. So let me see here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this real fast here. And we're going to continue to track this storm here, and we're going to watch the situation closely. There's still some broad rotation near the Wilmot area here, and that's going to be right in here. We're going to have to watch this situation closely. The tornado warning is still going to continue until 7:30 this morning for those areas along Highway 165 and 65 corridor. But as I said before, we're going to continue to monitor the situation. But right now, there's no indication of it being on the ground or anything like that. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean let your guard down or anything like that. We saw it last night with that severe thunderstorm warning where we saw the tornado warning, we saw the tornado occur. Montrose, you've seen the damage this morning from that severe thunderstorm warning. So just kind of keep that in mind across the area here. We're still monitoring the situation. It doesn't mean you need to let your guard down here in southeastern Arkansas this warning here. But we're going to continue to monitor the situation. Montrose, Lake Village are not in the warning yet. I do believe if the area of rotation still continues, I would see an extension of the tornado warning that would go into Chico County and then along the Mississippi River. So we're going to kind of follow this storm a little closer here. It's going to continue until 7:30 this morning here. So we're going to zoom this out, kind of give you guys a statewide view of what's going on across the board. So there's the shower and thunderstorm development across southeastern Arkansas this morning. The flooding threat still continues across this area from Memphis all the way down to El Dorado at this time. Multiple warnings ongoing, considerable damage over here in western Mississippi as well. This is outside of our region, but if you know anyone over this area, you might want to give them a heads up. Tell them, hey, we've got some severe weather ongoing this morning as well. So just kind of keep that in mind at this time here. So before, I'm not seeing any other reports here. Let me see. Let me go over there real quickly. Go over all the information at this point here. Nearly a foot of rain fell in DeWitt last night. I'm going over some reports of flooding there, working on information now. Lots of reports of flooding coming in. There was numerous reports of homes flooded and stuff like that in DeWitt and Arkansas County. You guys really took the brunt last night with the flooding threat. And that's the biggest thing we were stressing last night. I know the tornado threat was there, but the flooding threat was kind of being, overlooked and stuff like that. So the biggest thing is we just have to watch the situation closely at this current time here. So give me 1 second. Let me see before just going over everything right now. So the tornado warning remains in effect until 7:30. It's going to go for Ashley County. It includes Montrose, Portland, and the Berlin area. Double checking everything right now. I'm not seeing any other reports right now, which is good news at this point. Multiple flash flood warnings. That's the biggest thing here. And double checking everything right now here. So right now, not seeing any sort of damage reports from this particular storm. Now, Montrose, let's see before, they are dealing with some tornado damage this morning from the the severe thunderstorm warning from last night. They had the tornado possible tag on it. They are dealing with that from an apparent tornado down here in southeastern Arkansas last night. So that's the biggest thing that you just have to keep an eye on here. But from Ashley County to Chico County, that's going to be the area of concern throughout this area here. So at this point, let's go back over to Little Rock's radar for just a bit and give us 1 second. This thing just decided to freeze up on me this morning here. Give me 1 second here, guys. Let me double check something real quickly here. Okay, so that's gonna be the biggest thing at this point. Let me see. Okay, so I may have to restart this. So we're gonna go back over to Little Rock's radar real quickly here. Give me 1 second. I got to get the radar back up and running here. But for our folks down there in southeastern Arkansas, the tornado warning still continues in those areas until 7:30. Right now, as I said before, I'm not seeing any sort of concern about it touching down or anything like that, which is awesome. But it doesn't matter. If it's radar indicated, if it's on the ground or anything like that, it doesn't matter. You should still have a game plan ready to go. So give us just 1 second. We're going to get the radar back up and running. So for this radar has been running for the last 24 to 36 hours here, so you just kind of have to be patient with it a little bit. But we're going to watch the situation closely. So before there's that tornado warning down here, multiple warnings go up from all the way from southeast Arkansas all the way up into the Ohio Valley. Just kind of tells you the impact of this system here. And I'm going to go back down to southeastern Arkansas real quick. There's the tornado warning. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this going. And it's going to be right here. So 7:30 until 7:30 for Ashley County here. And there it is right there. Now, the biggest thing is that's going to help you guys out down here in southeast Arkansas is that you have a lot of storms beginning to move towards your area. That doesn't mean that it's going to completely negate the tornado threat. It's just something that you just have to keep an eye on here down here in Ashley County and Chico County here. So that's going to be the biggest thing that you have to keep an eye on here. There's a lot of storms beginning to move through across this area here. Now, taking a statewide view on what's going on across the board, and you can definitely see the flooding threat across eastern Arkansas. This is a very slow moving, a lot of storms continue to move across the area. The flooding threat is definitely going to be there regardless of the tornado threat or the wind threat this morning. The flooding threat really needs to be paid attention to, especially for our folks along the Mississippi River. So monitor that situation very, very closely. We are going to watch these isolated cells ahead of the line that will have that tornado potential, but I do think the flooding threat is much greater than your severe weather threat this morning here, especially from what we've seen throughout the overnight hours. So I know a lot of people are going to be traveling, especially on I-40 down in eastern Arkansas, going back to school, going back to work, and everything like that. Make sure that you're turning around and do not drown. Make sure you're taking those alternate routes this morning because we have a lot of heavy rainfall across eastern Arkansas at this time. Now, this is our true cold front beginning to make its way into western Arkansas. That will push through the state as we get towards later this morning and into the afternoon hours. Not expecting any sort of thunderstorm activity with this because you've had 3 rounds of showers and thunderstorms here, so the environment is relatively stable across the board. So not really expecting much with this. We'll watch it close. We don't have too big of a risk here in central Arkansas or anything like that. You do have a marginal risk over here in eastern Arkansas, but as of right now, I do believe you're not going to see much with this cold front as it pushes through the state here. So this is the convective outlook this morning. As mentioned before, there's the tornado warning at this time. We're going to kind of monitor the situation closely down here near Wilmot area at this time. Right now, at this given point, let me double check something real fast and making sure that we don't have any sort of reports or anything like that. So let me see here. Tornado warning remains in effect until 7:30 this morning. Not seeing anything. I know Joe Young over there at KRK, he's talking about the flooding threat, over a foot of rain is falling. But right now, I'm not really seeing much in terms of any damage reports or anything like that, which is awesome news. At this time here, the wind threat will definitely be there, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and the tornado threat here along the line of storms right in there. So let me go ahead and go over to our rotation indicator at this time here. There it is right there. So the area of rotation is still hanging on. It's not as defined as it was when it was in Louisiana, but that doesn't mean much. These systems, they typically cycle over and over and over again. We saw this all last night where at one point it was really strong and then it downtrended and then it uptrended from there. So still has that area of rotation, still has the evidence of rotation right here. That's going to pull up some roads. It's going to be right there in Camp Road and then over towards Berlin Road as well. So just kind of want to monitor the situation very closely. And this is going to continue to move on towards northeast here. So Parkdale, Portland, Montrose, Lake Village, you're not in it just yet, but you may want to watch it closely over here in southeastern Arkansas at this current time here. But the biggest thing is, and I know Cam, he's in the live stream this morning, the flooding threat. Now I'm getting a lot of reports of the flooding ongoing right now in southeastern Arkansas. A ton of flooding reports across the area here. Most of these flood warnings go until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but don't pay attention to when it expires. Take it easy on the roadways, guys. Make sure that you're taking those alternate routes and stuff like that. I'm not trying to take anything away from the tornado warning. It's just we've got a lot of flooding reports across southeastern Arkansas and across eastern Arkansas this morning here, with some totals as high as nearly a foot of rain across southeastern Arkansas here. We're going to look into that more once we get this tornado warning off the board. So there's tornado warning at this point. It's going to continue until 7:30 at 7:04. I'm not seeing any sort of reports of it, being on the ground or anything like that, which is awesome. Double checking everything at this current time. Let me make sure. of this at this point. And I said, for right now, I'm not seeing anything. I do know that there's a mesoscale discussion from the WPC regarding the flooding threat for southeastern Arkansas, northern Mississippi, over towards North Louisiana, southwestern Tennessee, and stuff like that. So I mentioned before, not taking anything away from the tornado threat at all. I do think the tornado threat is still there for the far southeastern corner of the state. However, we will watch for that flooding threat. The flooding threat is going to continue for much of the day across eastern Arkansas before the line of storms begins to move out to the area here. So something that we'll keep an eye on here is going to continue to move on towards the north and east here. Okay, so there's the storm right in here. Let's go ahead and zoom this out so you guys a perspective on what we're looking at here. Look how far south the line of storms extends all the way down to Texas. So just basically a train of moisture across eastern Arkansas. So I wouldn't be shocked to see additional flood warnings get issued across this area here. And we're going to loop the radar, and you're going to see how slow this is moving throughout the area as well. Memphis this morning, definitely seeing a lot of heavy rainfall coming into the Memphis area here. The flooding threat is definitely going to be there this morning. Southeastern Arkansas, which before the tornado warning still remains in effect at 7:30. Not taking anything away from that tornado threat. If you know anyone in Portland or Montrose or in Lake Village, you're not even in the warning yet. But go ahead and seek shelter down there at this current time here. Along with that, you will have to watch out for the flooding threat as well. So just kind of keep that in mind across the area. If you're planning on traveling, if you're planning on doing anything else, you will have to watch out for the flooding threat down here in southeastern Arkansas. But the tornado warning at this point stays until 7:30 here. Now, there's been a new update with the tornado warning here. So let's take a look at that real quickly. It's still going to remain in effect until 7:30 for Ashley County here. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located near Parkdale, 8 miles north of Wilmot, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So Portland, 7:05. We're talking Montrose right around 7:10 this morning as well here. So radar indicated rotation at this current time. Give me 1 second here, double checking everything here at this point. I'm getting a lot of reports. Oh man, just got a report in Arkansas County. Water is actually coming through the vents at this point in Arkansas County, guys. Flooding is really bad down here in southeastern Arkansas. So we're going to address that as soon as the tornado warning is off the board. So that's the biggest thing right now. The flooding threat is almost as significant as the tornado threat that we were dealing with last night here. So we're going to let this get off the board first. We are watching the flooding threat as well, but I do believe at this particular moment, this is a threat to life property down here in Ashley County. Just to take anything away from the flooding at this point, we've seen a lot of numerous reports of homes being flooded and stuff like that. But we're going to address the tornado warning down here as well in Ashley County. But I'm going to let this get off the board. Once this gets off the board, then I'm going to talk to you guys more about the flooding threat, because the flooding threat is just as significant as tornado threat here. So that's going to go until 7:30. We're going to go ahead and check our rotation indicator at this point. It's going to be right here, so not mistaken where the rotation is. It's right there on Highway 8 at this time. It's going to continue to move out towards the northeast at this current point. It's going to move towards the Montrose area, Highway 165 at this point. Now we have a new flash flood warning that's just been issued until 10 o'clock. It's going to go for Ashley, Chico, Morehouse Parish, and Boulevard County, which is in Mississippi. So that's the thing. Behind these severe thunderstorms, you're having the flooding threat continuing across the area here, guys. So the biggest thing is there's a lot of people in the Arkansas County Emergency Management is saying that roads are flooded in and around DeWitt, including the 130 and 165 on both sides of town. They're asking people to stay home if they can and avoid flooded roadways at this time. That is in Arkansas County, the DeWitt area at this time here. So just keep that in mind at this time here, guys. A lot of flooding reports coming in, and we now have a new severe thunderstorm warning in place for Ashley County here. So I'll be real curious to see what they're going to do with this. I believe that's what the line of storms beginning to come in behind this. So tornado warning still remains in effect. There's the area of rotation. We now have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go until 8:15 this morning for southeastern Arkansas. Mainly a wind threat with this. No tornado possible tag with this. We're going to monitor this closely though, because until this gets merged with the line, it's still going to carry that isolated tornado threat across the area here. So I just want to kind of address something real quick. A lot of people are tuning in. The biggest thing is we've been monitoring radar all night long. That's the biggest thing we've been doing. We've been keeping you guys updated and stuff like that. Tornado warning happened in southeastern Arkansas. We caught it. That's the biggest thing. We were here. We've been keeping you guys updated at this point. I don't like doing all clears right out the gate like that unless I was 100% confident we weren't going to see anything. However, so before down here in southeast Arkansas, you have just enough instability left to see some severe thunderstorms this morning here. So there could be some isolated cells down here that gets going. We'll have to watch Chico County as well. But the biggest thing is here, there's tornado warnings for thunderstorm warning. We caught it and we were here. We were keeping you updated at this time here. Okay, so tornado warning still remains in effect until 7:30 this morning. Severe thunderstorm warning is going to go until 8:15 this morning as well. A lot of storms continue to move across the area. As I mentioned before, once you get past the severe threat, you have a flooding threat you have to contend with as well. And flash flood warnings are rapidly coming across southeastern Arkansas, and they're going to continue as this line is slowly but surely beginning to make its way out of the natural state, but it's taking its sweet time getting out here, and that's where you're getting the flooding threat this morning here. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind here. So severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15. Just double check everything right now here, but the rain will slowly move out of this area this morning, but flooding continues. Be aware of the high water across the area here. So I'm going to continue to kind of double check everything in terms of reports and stuff like that. Mainly right now the reports are flooding this morning here. Right now I'm not seeing any sort of tornado damage or anything like that, which is awesome. That's always something that you want to see whenever you're dealing with a tornado warning. You never want to see the damage reports and stuff coming in. But however, that doesn't mean let your guard down. So if you know anyone in this area, we're going to zoom out one last time. There's the severe thunderstorm warning and there's the tornado warning. It's going to move to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So it's going to include Montrose and it's going to include Lake Village over here. We're going to take a look at the rotation. And I do believe with the line beginning to impede the area of rotation, it's not as intense as it was before. And I want to urge caution whenever you're dealing with these tornadic cells. They can easily spin up and spin down very, very fast. So just kind of keep that in mind. But right here, just southwest of Montrose, you still have to watch it because there's still an area of rotation still present with this. And like I said before, you've got a lot of storms kind of bearing down on this area of rotation, so it's going to try to cancel out the rotation, try to cancel out the inflow to this. However, you're still seeing some rotation, you're still seeing some evidence of rotation right in here, which is just south and west of the Montrose area at this current time here. So right in here, that's where the area of rotation is going to be. This storm, and I do believe, as I mentioned before, let's take a look. Earlier on, when it was coming out of Louisiana, it was by itself. Now look at what's going on is right there along the lines beginning to merge into the line. So what's going to end up happening is it's going to go from a tornado threat to a high wind threat / flooding threat very, very quickly. Doesn't mean you need to let your guard down. We're still going to monitor the situation closely down here in southeastern Arkansas, but there's a lot of storms itself at this time. Let's go ahead and take a look further into the state at this point. A lot of people are tuning in this morning trying to get some information. A lot of heavy rainfall still continuing across Arkansas County. You've seen a foot of rain, almost a foot of rain this morning here, and it's going to continue throughout the morning and into the early afternoon hours here. Okay, so just keep that in mind across the area, guys. Remember, turn around and do not drown in these areas. And what I want to do for just a second, and so far not taking anything away from the tornado warning itself, we're going to take a look at the current rainfall totals that we've seen over here in southeastern Arkansas. So we're going to go to precipitation, and we're going to go to precipitation totals real fast here, and bear me for just a bit, and you're going to see this, and there it is right there. Down here in southeastern Arkansas, you guys have seen a crazy amount of rainfall over the last couple of hours here, so just kind of keep that in mind across the board. Let me double check, see if we can change that template for you guys. So maybe for just a second, we're going to take a look at this real quickly here. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can change the template for it. I believe that was the old one. Let's take a look at the new one. And it's going to be this one right in here. So there it is right there. And there's the heavy rainfall across southeastern Arkansas. Really right there in Arkansas County. You guys have seen its totals upwards to 8 to 9 inches of rainfall. Now keep in mind that this is radar indicated rainfall totals. However, significant flooding has ongoing across southeastern Arkansas this morning. We were afraid of that last night. We were telling you guys the tornado threat, yes, it went down, but the flooding threat was going to rapidly increase throughout the overnight hours, and unfortunately that's what we saw in southeastern Arkansas this morning, and this is going to continue throughout the morning hours and into the early afternoon hours as well here. So there's the tornado warning down here. There's the amount of flooding, the amount of water that we've got across the area here. Rainfall totals right now range from about 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, some locally higher amounts, nearly a half a foot of rainfall already, and I wouldn't be shocked here in Arkansas County. There is 9 inches of rain so far. You still got heavy rainfall falling with this, so I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a foot of rain down here in Arkansas County before it's all said and done. So there's tornado warning. It's going to go until 7:30 this morning. We're going to go back over to our level 2 radar for just a bit. And there it is right there. So this tornado warning still remains in effect, still hanging on. And you have a severe thunderstorm warning to account for the wind threat. And then you have a flood warning right behind that to account for the flooding threat with this. So kind of a triple threat of severe weather at this point down here in southeastern Arkansas. So there it is right there. Tornado warning remains in effect. Double checking everything right now. I'm not seeing any sort of reports or anything like that. They did with the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. There is now a slight risk for Chico County, basically to account for this morning's severe weather down here in southeastern Arkansas. It goes from Memphis down towards Greenville, down towards the Ashley and Chico County area here. So there's now a slight risk in place across the Chico County area, marginal risk to the west of that. Everybody else across much of the rest of the natural state, you're good to go. But far eastern Arkansas, we're going to watch you guys first thing this morning. Biggest thing is high winds, heavy rainfall. The isolated tornado threat will be there as well. I do believe your tornado threat will start to wane off this morning. It will increase rapidly to our east for our folks in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. However, doesn't mean you need to let your guard down here in eastern Arkansas. We're going to watch the situation closely at this current point here. So it's going to be right here. Tornado warning is going to go until 7:30 this morning. Severe thunderstorm warning behind it. It's going to go until 8:15 here. So don't pay attention to just the tornado warning. You have 60-mile-per-hour winds coming in behind this tornadic cell here. So you're going to have to pay attention to that. So if you're in the tornado warning, you're in shelter right now, stay where you are. Get away from the windows as well, because you're still dealing with those 60 upwards to 70-mile-per-hour winds, and then it's going to push through the area very, very slowly. That's where you're going to have a flooding threat this morning as well here. So right now, just going to go ahead and just kind of touch bases with everything at this point. Let's take a look at the rotation at this time here. And now, except for, I'd be real surprised if they keep this tornado warning going further beyond 7:30. Because of the fact that you have a line of storms bearing down on this tornado warning, which is awesome. That means that it's wiping out the rotation and it's keeping things at bay down here in southeast Arkansas. You guys have seen a lot over the last 24 hours and over the last 2 events we've had, where we've had multiple tornado warnings down here in southeastern Arkansas. So just keep that in mind down here. There's area rotation still right there, southwest of Portland, southwest of Montrose, and north of Parkdale at this time here. A lot of storms right behind it. I mean, you're still going to be dealing with those 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, but there's a lot of storms right there. And I do believe we're seeing a merger going on at this point, so that's really going to cancel out your tornado threat down here in southeast Arkansas, which is an awesome thing. But you're still going to deal with the wind threat. You're still going to deal with the heavy rainfall threat down here as well. And once we're done with the tornado warning, I am going to touch base with that flooding threat, because the flooding threat is very, very, very significant at this current time here. Okay, so let me see here, going over everything right now. Okay, so thunderstorm warning remains in effect. Potential tornado still remains in effect at this point. Going to be going near Montrose at this point, right around at 7:10 time frame. See if there's an update with the tornado warning here. So tornado warning remains in effect until 7:30 for East Central Ashley County. So thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Portland, or 11 miles north of Wilmot, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Montrose, we're talking 7:10 this morning. We're still going to monitor the situation very, very closely down here in southeastern Arkansas. I mentioned before, we've been watching you guys all night long. We've had coverage throughout the entire night down here in southeastern Arkansas. We haven't let off the gas at all. The only reason why we said that this morning is because there was a lull in the period. We were thinking that, okay, things were kind of settling down and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that we weren't watching. And that's the biggest thing. We caught on, and there was a tornado warning that happened, and boom, we were live. So that's the biggest thing at this point. Severe thunderstorm warning behind it, and as I said before, you're going to have to watch for that wind threat, but the flooding threat. I know the tornado threat is there, and it definitely needs to be watched, but the flooding threat is just as big, and we're getting a significant amount of reports at this point. Mama Donna, she says she's good down there, southeastern Arkansas, the Arkansas County area, but a lot of reports of water in homes this morning, guys, so you just gotta be careful this morning across the area here, okay? So let me see here, double checking everything at this time here. Multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. I'd be real surprised if they keep the tornado warning down here in southeastern Arkansas. Also, one more thing what I'm gonna do is check the power outages at this time here. Right now, current power outages at this point is going to go, give me 1 second here, it's going to go for 9,747. So Energy's working their behinds off this morning trying to get to you guys. The one thing I am concerned about in terms of getting the power back on is the flooding threat. And basically what we're talking about is they can't get out and get your power back on if there's a lot of water. There's a lot of standing water across the board, especially for our folks down here in southeastern Arkansas. So keep that in mind. There will be some delays down here in terms of getting your power back on. We're still sitting well over 9,000 customers without power at this point. I'm getting a report from Cam as well. This is coming from Memphis. Vehicles stranded in water, water up to midway on the doors. It's probably the worst flooding he's seen in a while here. So that's the biggest thing, guys. The flooding threat, the flooding threat, the flooding threat. We've been stressing that so much over the last day or so about the flooding threat, along with the tornado threat and along with the damaging wind threat as well here. And seeing some reports on Twitter of over near a foot of rain has now fallen over the last 24 hours in the DeWitt area. Authorities are reporting multiple homes flooded and multiple roads underwater over here in southeastern Arkansas at this point. So keep that in mind. I'm really, really surprised that this is not a flash flood emergency for our folks over here in Arkansas County at this point. But it doesn't matter. Still take remember, if you're planning on traveling this morning, remember, turn around, do not drown. If you have to get out, and the authorities are really urging everyone that if you don't have to get out, don't get out at all. Make sure that you are taking those alternate routes. Make sure you're turning around, you do not drown. A lot of flooding reports this morning coming out from southeastern Arkansas all the way up to the Memphis area at this point here. So now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to go for Chico County until 8:15. I do believe what they're doing is they're extending the severe thunderstorm warning down here in southeastern Arkansas. The tornado warning itself, I do believe, is still going to continue until 7:30. However, we will be real curious to see what they're going to end up doing with the tornado warning itself. So the tornado warning still remains in effect. Let me double check something real fast and make sure that this thing didn't expire on me. So basically what's going on right now with the tornado warning itself, basically the storm has merged within the line, which if you're wanting to get rid of the tornado threat will be the best case scenario because it cancels out your rotation. We're still going to monitor it closely here, but the biggest thing is you've gone from more of a tornado threat to a damaging wind threat now. You're still going to have to deal with the 60 and 70 mile per hour wind gusts down here in southeastern Arkansas. But the biggest thing is, you can take a look at this. Let's go back to the loop here. You can see where it was by itself, decent rotation near Parkdale, and as soon as it got merged with that line, the line kind of absorbed it into itself, and that's what ended up happening with the storming. So I'd be real curious to see if they're going to keep the tornado warning going. They may let it go all the way until 7:30 at this point. Regardless of the fact, the severe thunderstorm warning still remains in effect. It does go for Chico County as well until 8:15 this morning. The biggest thing I'm stressing right now is the flooding threat. The flooding threat, the flooding threat. I'm stressing that so much right now across the area here. So right now, not seeing any other reports here. We see here, there's a give me 1 second here, just double checking everything at this point, making sure we're not seeing anything right now. I know Shreveport, they are going to send storm survey teams out into northeastern Louisiana this afternoon to kind of assess any potential tornado tracks and stuff like that. So they are going to kind of look at that this afternoon. They're going to send a team out this afternoon as well. I wouldn't be shocked if Little Rock end up doing the same here. But the biggest thing down here is there's the tornado warning. It's going to go until 7:30. The severe thunderstorm warning is likely replacing the tornado warning here. Now I'm going to zoom down and kind of take a look at this area of rotation. It's going to be right there near Portland. So I do believe they may keep the warning itself going. The area of rotation is still there. Let's take a look at Jackson's radar here. And the biggest thing down here in southeast Arkansas is this thing is right between two radar sites. It's right between Jackson and between Little Rock's radar. So you kind of have to go between both to kind of get a visual on this potential storm here. So it's going to be right there near Montrose, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm warning right behind it. So like I said before, don't get out of your shelters just yet. You still got to continue with that 60 mile per hour wind gusts behind the line of storms itself, and it's going to continue to move on towards the east-northeast here. And there's the area of rotation. So there it is, a little bit better with Jackson's radar than it is with Little Rock's radar, which is natural. I would watch this up here just to the northeast, and there it is right there. There's a new warning that just got issued here. I was just getting ready to give you guys a heads up there. So a new warning, new tornado warning is going to go until 8:15 this morning down here in southeastern Arkansas. That's north and west of Lake Village. It's going to go right over once again that Highway 65, 165 area. You guys have seen a lot over the last 24 hours. There are multiple warnings. This is for the tornado damage from yesterday. So there's a tornado warning. The extension of the tornado warning is going to go until 8:15 this morning here. So keep that in mind. We're going to continue to monitor the tornado threat along with the flooding threat across the area here. There's also now a severe thunderstorm warning that goes with it until 8:15, mainly 60 mile per hour winds, but that's going to go right over the tornado threat here. And there's the area of rotation just to the north and east of Montrose, to the north and west of Lake Village at this current time here. So if you're tuning in from southeastern Arkansas, good morning. Been doing this for the last 15 to 20 hours, keeping you guys updated in terms of severe weather threat. It has not came to an end as of yet. Like I said before, we were monitoring the situation closely. We've been monitoring radar all night long, giving you guys reports throughout the overnight hours as well. We had a lull in the activity during the overnight, so the flooding, and then this morning, as soon as the sun came up, boom, we had the instability return, and this is what we got down here in southeastern Arkansas. So this is the area of rotation right here, just to the south and west of Highway 65 at this point. Give me 1 second, and we're going to put a track on this real fast here. So it's going to move to the northeast. I'm going to clock it right around 40 miles per hour. So it's going to go right over the Mississippi River. So it's going to be over the Mississippi River at this point. I wouldn't be shocked to see an extension of this tornado warning go over the Mississippi River and go into Mississippi, given how fast this storm is moving here. But there's Benoit and there's Shaw. Both of these are in Mississippi at this point. There's no cities or anything like that in the path of this in Arkansas. However, there are some roads. So we're talking, give me 1 second, County Road 318. We've got Highway 65 over here. And as I said before, I really wouldn't be shocked to see an extension go into Mississippi with this, especially for our folks along Highway 1 over here, Highway 450, and also Highway 448 here. I just kind of will have to watch the situation closely for that Benoit and Shaw area, because this area of rotation is going to quickly move on towards northeast here. But tornado warning remains in effect across this area here. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect with this as well till 8:15. Let's zoom this out. And a lot of people are just storm weary. We're trying to get this event over with. We're almost there. We're almost there. We got to go a little bit further with this. Just pushing slowly to the north and east here. This is becoming Ashley County, Chico County, moving into the Mississippi River, and it's going to go into western Mississippi at this morning here. And if you know anyone that's in western Mississippi, by the way, this is outside of our coverage area, but you do have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. A couple of them are producing considerable damage, 70 mile per hour winds over here. Give them a heads up. Anyone that lives along Mississippi River, give them a heads up. Say, hey, we got severe thunderstorm coming out from Little Rock. And that's where you're going to have to watch for that tornado threat and the high wind threat by the time we get towards later this morning and into this afternoon here. But the tornado warning still remains in effect. So the other one has been canceled. The other one has been dropped, and the new one remains in effect until 8:15 this morning here. So this one's gone. So Ashley County, you're in the clear in terms of the tornado threat. but the high wind threat will still be there. So keep that in mind. Wait till the storm has completely passed over your area before you begin to come out, because you still got to deal with the 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. But the tornado threat is gone for Ashley County at this point. But this is now moving into Chico County here. What I'm going to do for just a second, give you guys like a little bit of perspective when we're looking at here. I'm going to turn the counties and stuff on here. It's an awesome feature that we have here in the weather center, kind of give you guys kind of perspective on what we're looking at here. Okay, so now a lot of people kind of new here in Arkansas, don't know the counties and stuff like that, which is perfectly understandable, and this is why we have this product. So there's Ashley, Chico, and there's DeShay County. There's the tornado warning itself. It's going to be right here. I've got the track right there for the area of rotation, and it's going to move to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. I really wouldn't be shocked to see an extension of the tornado warning itself to go into Mississippi. But anyone along Highway 65 at this time, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to unit outside as possible, and get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point. So, tornado warning for Chico County, just double checking everything. Joe Young, like I said before, he's from KRK. He's one of our partners at KRK. Every single bridge over the creek in DeWitt is flooded this morning, according to the police chief in DeWitt at this time here. So that's the biggest thing, guys. It's not only just the tornado threat, it's not only the high wind threat, the flooding threat. The flooding threat is a very, very significant flooding threat ongoing across eastern Arkansas and southeastern Arkansas at this current time. So there it is right here. There's tornado warning. We're going to cover this tornado warning as of right now, and then once this tornado warning is out of our area, out into western Mississippi, we're going to switch over to the flooding coverage, because the flooding coverage is definitely needed this morning across the area here. Okay, so the rainfall will slowly move out. It will be out here by the time we get towards later in the day, but the flooding threat is going to continue for much of the area here. So flooding is going to go. There's flash warning until 10 o'clock. There's the tornado warning. It's going to go until 8:15 this morning here. If I can click on it, give me 1 second. There's the tornado warning right now. It's going to go until 8:15 this morning. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our area of rotation here. There it is. So pretty pronounced before it kind of merged itself along the line. Normally that would cancel out your rotation. However, with this particular situation, let's go back over to reflectivity. It kind of stayed in its own cell. It really didn't merge into the line completely. It kind of stayed the cell. So just kind of keep that in mind. For those in Ashley and Chico County, you're still in the warning, but in Ashley County, you're no longer under that tornado warning, but you're still under that severe thunderstorm warning, so keep that in mind. But there is the tornado warning right here. It's just to the east of Jerome, to the north and west of Lake Village, to the north and east of Montrose at this time. No cities here in Arkansas are going to be impacted by this tornado warning. It's right between McGee and Lake Village, but it's going to go right over the highway. So if you're traveling between McGee and Lake Village this morning, watch out for a couple of things. High winds, up to 60 to 70 miles per hour, the tornado threat. So that means that you need to be finding some sort of gas station. There's plenty of gas stations along this highway, making sure that you're taking shelter at this point, and also accounting for the flooding threat. If you're in eastern Arkansas this morning, I do believe a lot of people are going back to school, and a lot of people are going back to work and stuff like that. If you don't have to get out this morning, if you're off and stuff like that, if you do not have to get out this morning, do not get out at this time here, okay? That's the biggest thing I want to stress with the flooding threat at this time here. And also, so before, multiple severe thunderstorm warning is going to go for Chico County, mainly 60 mile per hour winds. This is mainly a wind threat down here now. Tornado threat greater to the north near the Dermot area here. So watch the situation closely. Also, as I said before, the flooding threat. So they can continue across the area. But we're slowly but surely getting rid of this threat. We're slowly but surely getting rid of this threat at this current time here, okay? So, flooding here points to the southwest. Down there in Memphis, that's the biggest thing we're stressing right now is the flooding threat. We are live this morning going over everything at this point, going over everything at this time here, just going over all the information here. Let me see here. There's the new flooding. There's a new flood warning up there, as well as going over all the information at this point. So flash flood warning still continues till 8 o'clock. And even in this thing, even if the flood warning expires, quote unquote expires, the flooding threat is going to continue all the way throughout the afternoon hours. So keep that in mind. Even if the flood warning expires, it doesn't mean the flood threat is completely over with. It just means the flood warning is expired. You're still dealing with the flooding, and I wouldn't be shocked if this gets extended past the 8 o'clock time frame here. So just kind of keep that in mind across the board. But we're going to take a look at a couple of things real quickly here. We stop the radar for just a second. Let's zoom down once again to this tornado warning, which is in just to the north and west of Lake Village. It's going to be right over here, 293 at this point, Highway 65 as well. This area of rotation right in here. Let's go over to our rotation indicator at this time here. There it is. And it's pretty broad. That's pretty good news. It's not a significant area of rotation. We are using Jackson's radar, by the way. So it's not a significant area of rotation. It doesn't mean let your guard down. It doesn't mean you're not going to see anything in terms of tornado warning, or not tornado warning. You're not going to see anything in terms of the tornado potential or anything like that. It's good news that it's broad now. I'm not seeing any sort of indication that it's on the ground or anything like that, which is awesome news. But the tornado warning still remains in effect and it's radar indicated. So that means that there is evidence of rotation, which means that it can produce a brief spin up. And that's a lot of things we've been seeing over the last 12 hours is these quick, brief spin ups. We saw it last night down here in southeast Arkansas. Wasn't tornado warning. It was a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it, and it ended up producing a tornado. So make sure that you're taking those tornado precautions down here in southeastern Arkansas, especially if you live along Highway 65 at this current time here. So flash flood warning for the Shea County until 9 a.m. Just going over all the flooding reports at this current time. That's the biggest thing at this point. It's not only just the tornadoes that we're looking at right now. We're not taking anything away from the tornado threat, but the flooding threat is really starting to ramp up across the area here. I cannot stress that enough at this time here. So let me double check something real fast here. Give me 1 second. Okay, everything is looking good on our end. I'm taking a look at the power outages as well, but I want to urge caution with those power outages, especially down here in southeastern Arkansas. If you have a lot of high water, energy is not going to be able to come out and take care of those power outage issues. So you could see power outages well throughout the day today. So make sure that you know that. Make sure you're staying patient with them as well, because they cannot work in high water. So it's a safety threat to them. Trying to get your lights back on. So just keep that in mind for our folks out here in southeast Arkansas. The majority right now coming from Ashley County, which you guys are standing out with over 1,300 people without power. Over here in the Shea County, you're almost at 1,000 at this point, and this is with this particular thunderstorm moving over the area. Tornado warning still remains in effect. Let's take a look at the rotation once again. And as I mentioned before, it's pretty broad now, but the word thing I'm worried about is there's another area trying to get going along the Mississippi River, which means there should be an expansion into western Mississippi, which I would say anyone that's on Highway 1 right now in western Mississippi, go ahead and take those tornado precautions. Go ahead and seek shelter immediately, because there is another area of rotation trying to get going just to the east of Highway 65. So basically what has happened is you've seen a handoff of the rotation further to the north and east here as the storm continues to move off in that direction. So now this is now starting to go into the Mississippi River, and it's going to make a run for West Mississippi. But if you know anyone on Highway 1 right now, you're outside of the warning box at this point. But you go ahead and take those tornado precautions just to be on the safe side, because I do believe you're going to see an extension of this tornado warning over into West Mississippi at this current time here. So we're monitoring that real close. Severe thunderstorm warning down here for much of southeastern Arkansas, mainly going to be for the potential of seeing high winds, heavy rainfall across the area here. Let me see if I can get my poor radar. It's been put to the test over the last couple of hours here. So let me see if I can go back to my radar. There it is right there. So there's a heavy rainfall beginning to move through the area. Multiple warnings down here, by the way. It's northeastern Louisiana and western Arkansas, not western Arkansas, eastern Arkansas, western Mississippi. And you have a couple of what we call tornado possible tags over here. You've had warnings all evening, all overnight across much of western Mississippi. You had a couple up there in Kentucky as well in terms of tornado warnings across the board. But right now, at this point, let me double check something real fast here. So just making sure everything right now, mainly the flooding threats, what I'm seeing at this point. I'm not seeing any sort of tornado reports, which is awesome news. But the biggest thing that we're stressing right now is the flooding. Torrential rainfall keeps back building over central Arkansas County, bringing more torrential rainfall for areas that have already seen a foot of rain. So as soon as this tornado warning is off the board, we're going to address the Arkansas County situation here. Because guys, you've seen almost a foot of rain for our folks in Arkansas County this morning here. Reach out to those folks down there this morning. Just make sure they're okay. If you're in Arkansas County right now, we are urging you guys, do not travel this morning. Okay, I'm urging that right now. Do not travel. They're telling everybody don't travel in this area. We now have another flash flood warning. It's going to go until 10:30 this morning for Phillips County at this current time. So that's the biggest thing at this point. Don't get out. If you have to get out, make sure that you're using alternate routes at this current point. If you have flooding pictures, flooding videos, and stuff like that, feel free to send that in. I haven't had a chance to really kind of take a look at all that this morning because we do have a tornado warning down here in southeastern Arkansas. We've been kind of monitoring a lot of things over the last couple of hours here. So if you do have those photos and videos, feel free to send them in at this current time. But the flooding threat continues, the severe threat continues, the tornado threat continues, and we're going to take a look at the rotation at this point. And I still I'd be real shocked if there wasn't an extension of the tornado warning except that's going to go into western Mississippi. If you know anyone on Highway 1 right now, I would definitely be going ahead and take your tornado precautions. There's another area of rotation which is just south of Arkansas City right now, moving northeast here. So if you know anyone in this area, they do need to be seeking their tornado precautions immediately. This area in here is relatively broad area of rotation still there, and I still say you still need to take your tornado precautions, especially on Highway 65. But if you know anyone on Highway 1, you guys are not under a warning right now, take those tornado precautions because there's another area of rotation right in here, and it's going to move to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour here. Okay, so multiple severe thunderstorm warnings as well. Another severe thunderstorm warning has been issued to 8:30. It's going to go into western Mississippi at this point. We are putting it in to this threat. We've dealt with this threat ever since, I think, yesterday early afternoon with that first round. First round really helped us out. Second round came in, third round came in. This is the third round of storms coming through, which explains the massive amount of flooding that we've had across the area. That's the biggest thing here. Now we have a new flood warning across McGee, Arkansas County, Arkansas City, and Kelso, Arkansas. It's going to go until 9 o'clock this morning. I do believe it's going to be this one right in here. There it is right there. So this one's just been issued. It's going to go for southern Shea County until 9 o'clock this morning. Just make sure that you're taking your precautions if you're planning on traveling. Like I said before, we're here keeping you guys updated on the severe threat and the tornado threat. But the biggest thing I'm urging right now is the flooding threat. The flooding threat, the flooding threat, the flooding threat. It is definitely there this morning, guys. We were warning you guys last night that was going to be the potential that we were going to see that flooding threat, and that's what we got going at this point. So severe thunderstorm warning is going to go until 8:15. The tornado warning itself is still in effect until 8:15 this morning. I'd be real curious to see what they're going to do with this tornado warning. I do believe they may see an expansion into Mississippi. Let's take a look at your rotation real quickly here. And like I said before, I'm really surprised this is not warned. I'm really surprised it's not warned up here going into West Mississippi this time of year along the Mississippi River. So I do think you still have some broad rotation back here, but this area right in here is very, very concerning. This is over Western Mississippi along Highway 1. Anyone in this area, if you know anyone in this area, they need to be taking those tornado precautions immediately at this current time. So taking a look at everything right now. At this point, Ferndale's coming in with almost 2 inches of rainfall. We're going to take a look at rainfall amounts here in just a little bit. But biggest thing is at this time here is making sure if you're planning on traveling, turn around and do not drown. A lot of our meteorologists across the state at this time are very, very concerned about the flooding threat this morning. We've had almost a foot of rain, or even in some cases over a foot of rain in Arkansas County this morning. So make sure that you're taking those precautions. Here's the flood warning, by the way. It goes all the way from Memphis all the way down to Union County. That is basically all of the southeastern corner of Arkansas. So make sure that you're taking those flooding precautions, guys. I cannot stress that enough. Preparing Monroe, Arkansas, Bradley, Cleveland, DeShay, Drew, and Jefferson County is going to go until 8 o'clock. I do believe it's going to get extended even further than that. Flooding threat is definitely there. It's radar indicated, which is like the biggest thing that we were talking about with that is radar indicated. But the biggest thing with this, you just have to monitor the situation closely here. Now we have a new tornado warning. They just got extended. That's basically what I'm saying here. So this one back out here, I do believe they're going to allow that one to drop And we have a new tornado warning. This is outside of Arkansas, by the way, but it goes for that area of rotation that we were just talking about. It's going to go for northwestern Washington County, northwestern Mississippi, and then southern Bolivar County until 8:30. So that area of rotation that I was watching closely, going right over Highway 1, is now toll warning. So that's the biggest thing here. Did they cancel the other? Let me see if I can clear my radar off for just a second. Let me clear my radar for just a bit. I do believe. Okay, so basically what they have done is the other tornado warning that was in place that went for this area here has been allowed to expire. Not expired. It has been canceled. Excuse me. Let me double check something real fast. So there's a tornado warning right here. Let me double check and make sure. So yeah, the tornado warning for northern Chico County is canceled. So we have no more tornado warnings in place across the natural state. The other tornado warning is now in Mississippi. This is outside of our coverage area, but if you know anyone on Highway 1 right now, Highway 448, and also Highway 8 over here, and also Highway 61 over here in western Mississippi, making sure that they trigger their tornado precautions immediately. And now that we've gotten past the tornado warning, let's talk about the flooding threat. The flooding threat is definitely there this morning, guys. I cannot stress that enough. Let's go back over to our Little Rock radar at this point here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this real fast here, and there it is. There's the heavy rainfall we have seen this morning across eastern Arkansas here. Let's zoom down in particular to Arkansas County here. DeWitt, we're talking, look at there, surpassing 10 inches of rainfall across the area here. Nearly a foot of rain has been seen in this area here. So just make sure that you are using caution this morning. If you don't have to get out, that's going to be the biggest thing here, guys. As I said before, if you have a lot of flooding reports and stuff like that across the area, I've got Cam. He's reporting this out of Memphis. Water up to the door handles. Vehicles that are stranded, homes are ankle-deep water in them. It's pretty bad across the area here. So a lot of flooding reports. We were very concerned about this. This is the area of rainfall over the last, I would say, 24 hours here. And you can definitely see the areas that got a lot of rainfall from central Arkansas, northeastern Arkansas, and then 7-4 right through here. And I'm really shocked that this is not a flash flood emergency given the amount of rainfall we've seen down here so far. However, it doesn't mean anything between an emergency or a flood watch or anything like that. Make sure that you're taking those precautions this morning. Remember, turn around and do not drown this morning, guys. I want to stress to you guys that so much at this point. They are advising people to stay home if you can. A lot of people got to go back to work, a lot have to go back to school, stuff like that. So if you have to get out this morning, use those alternate routes. Make sure you're turning around, you do not drown, don't go over flooded roadways. Even if it doesn't look like a lot of water, don't go over because you're taking a big risk at this point here, guys. Okay, so I do believe that's all the information I have at this point. That doesn't mean that we're going to go away or anything like that. We're going to have not flood warnings. We're going to have radar coverage throughout the morning hours. We're still going to monitor southeastern Arkansas. I'm going to touch bases with southeast Arkansas real quickly before I hop off the live stream here. But severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Chico County down here. I do believe now, and I'm not going to jinx this, I do believe now we're putting an end to this severe weather threat. But the flooding threat is going to continue throughout much of the morning hours and into the early afternoon hours. Power outages are still a significant threat down here. Let's take a look at the power outages real fast. It's between 9,709 people without power. I want to mention you guys one last time, make this perfectly clear. For those that are in those areas that do not have power and have a lot of flooding going on right now, Entergy is not going to be able to get to you very quickly. They got to think about their safety before they can get to you. So keep that in mind across the board. Okay, so just double checking everything at this point. Just making sure of everything right now. Flash flooding is now ongoing in Lake Village at this point. Let me see here. I'm not understanding why. Lake Village is not seeing a flash or warning that's out of our control here. But the biggest thing is going to be the flooding threat this morning here. Taking a look at everything right now. Let me see here. Going over everything at this point. Give me 1 second. Okay, so somebody got to that comment. Thank you for that. Thank you. Let me see here. Going over all the comments right now here, guys. The thing is, this is what we do. We keep you guys updated down here in southeastern Arkansas. But the biggest thing I'm stressing right now is the flooding threat. The flooding threat this morning. A lot of heavy rainfall is ongoing down here in southeastern Arkansas and eastern Arkansas at this current time. So let me double check everything at this point. I think we are relatively good to go. Let me see here. Okay, sirens going off in Dermont. That tornado warning has been allowed to expire. However, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's going to go until 8:15 this morning here. So there's severe thunderstorm warning with that. These thunderstorms are quickly moving off towards the east, moving into western Mississippi, northwestern Mississippi, but the flooding threat is still going to continue across the area here. So let me see here. Just double checking everything right now. I think we're relatively good to go in terms of all the questions and everything like that. So the biggest thing, you guys, we've gotten a lot of people join us. They didn't know who we are, and they kind of followed us from the tornado warning coverage last night. We appreciate each and every single one of you guys for being here. We're going to continue to keep you guys updated. We don't, so before we don't prioritize one side of the state over the other. That's going to be the biggest thing. Also, the flooding threat, I want to stress to you guys as well. Yes, the heavy rainfall. Let's go back over to Little Rock real quick. Give you guys like a statewide view of what's going on. So I believe that this is Little Rock. But the biggest thing is there's a flooding threat right here. There's a heavy rainfall ongoing at this point. And one thing I'm worried about, and Joe Young from KRK talked about this. You're seeing a back building of the rainfall going into Arkansas County. So that is concerning. If you start seeing back building across those areas, that could lead to additional flooding this morning here. Memphis is just getting absolutely soaked with heavy rainfall this morning. You're going to have a lot of flooding up here in Memphis area down into eastern Arkansas at this current time here, guys. So the tornado warning has moved into west Mississippi. It's out of our coverage area. If you know anyone along Highway 1, Highway 61 over there, tell them to take the tornado precautions immediately. But outside of that, guys, I think that is it in terms of the severe weather coverage. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. We're going to be here throughout the morning hours, not only going over the severe threat, but the flooding threat as well. And we continue to keep you guys updated right here, your source for all things Arkansas weather.